Welcome back. In this tutorial, I want to cover modifying existing geometry. So we have our triangle extrusion here, and there are two different ways that we can change this. We can change the extrusion depth, which is this distance along this axis here. And the way to do that is to double-click the extrusion in the model tree and then change the value. So let's make it 2 inches. And now we've got twice the length of our extrusion. The other way to change that would be to go to our parameters dialog box, find our dimension, which is 2 here. Let's change this to 0.5 and then done. I don't particularly like doing it that way because when you get more features in a part, it tends to make it more difficult to find what you're looking for. So if we were to say throw a sketch on here and let's add a rectangle, well, let's go 0.5 by 0.25. And if we extrude that, let's say 0.25. Now I've got 2 extrusions in my model tree, and when I come up to my parameters dialog box, I've got more dimensions, more extrusions, and it just starts to get a little more cluttered. But whatever you're comfortable with, again, change the length of that extrusion. Let's make this 0.05, and then it's really short. We'll go back to 0.25. Okay. Now, if I want to change the size of this rectangle or the size of my triangle, do not, can't say it enough, make a new sketch. I like to equate this to test corrections. So if you took a test and you didn't score very well, and your teacher said, you know what, I'm going to give you the opportunity to go ahead and make test corrections. Would you take a blank test and retake it? Or would you take the test that you took the first time and correct it? And of course, it would be the second one. You would take your test and correct it. So making a new sketch is never going to work to change an old sketch. And the way that we do that is we maximize, and we're just going to go ahead and do for both extrusions, but if I go to extrusion 1 and double click the sketch, notice I'm back in my sketch. So if I change this to 1.25 by double clicking the dimension, and let's change this to 3, finish sketch, and now my triangle has changed size. And along the same lines, if I want to change the footprint of this rectangle here, I double click my sketch, go in, change some dimensions. We can also add a dimension between this and the center point to make them in the middle. And we can also locate this like that. Let's change this to 1/2 inch, finish sketch, and now our rectangle size has changed. If you want to change the length of the extrusion again, double click it. You can change that then and hit OK. So that's going to wrap up this video. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next.